Howdy folks, law-abiding Minnesotan here with North Central MN Press, coming at you live one more time from the Crow Wing County Sheriff's Office here in Brainerd, Minnesota. The reason I came here today is to address an issue of lack of transparency from the sheriff and the sheriff's office employees. The first thing I want to show you here is some of the sheriff's campaign promises. The sheriff has been in office now, a year and a half, I want to say. I believe it's a year and a half the sheriff's been in office. And he says during his campaign, "I'm not running to continue what's been done at the Crow Wing County Sheriff's Office for the last several years. I'm running on a new style of leadership that will empower citizens who want to partner with law enforcement in making our community safer and building on our successes." He goes on to say, "I'm trusting that the communities of Crow Wing County will clearly see the lack of response, level of service, and lack of transparency with this current sheriff." And he was talking about our last sheriff, Sheriff Goddard. "The current sheriff's deficiencies in these areas are evident, and it is time for a sheriff that will listen to our community and local law enforcement needs. I have a vision to return to community policing through developing relationships both inside and outside the organization, working on accountability, compassion, courage, consistency, credibility, diversity, and integrity from the top of the organization down. I'll do this through transparency." And so this guy ran on reforming, rebuilding, and restoring the trust within communities between the staff and administration and our other law enforcement partners through transparency. Okay. If that's the case, why then did the Minnesota County's Intergovernmental Trust cut a check for $2,000 back on the 2nd of May? Why did they cut a check for $2,000? I'll tell you why they cut a check for $2,000. It's because the sheriff is not living up to his campaign promise of transparency. A data request was put in back in, I believe it was October of 2023, and regarding an accident up on 371 North in Crow Wing County, a deputy-involved accident. A deputy caused like a 3 or 4 car pileup, multiple injuries, extensive property damage, blew up a sheriff's office SUV. The thing was sitting there engulfed in flames. I'm sure you guys have seen pictures and saw my story on this before. I came in looking for the incident data as well as the personnel data on that incident and the deputy involved, and I got nip and pip, nothing. Right? So I had served a civil complaint and summons, well, the lawyers cut me this check for $2,000, and they gave me a little bit of the data, a little bit of the incident data, a little bit of the personnel data, of course not all of it, and I went ahead and settled for what I got there. But I have a different story I'm working on that I've been working on since last August regarding a shooting. You got obstruction and bullshit. Oh yeah, but they paid me, Ralphie. They paid me $2,000 for that. Hey, how's it going? Good, Steph. Sheriff Clang around?
Let me check for you.
All right.
He is not around.
He's not around. How about Andy Bradley? Is he around? On the log, it shows he's not here. Maybe he's on break.
I'll be right back.
All right, thanks. Well, Steph's going to check for Andy Bradley. Of course, Sheriff Klang's not here. He's never here. He always used to be available to talk. And now here for the past year or so, he just all of a sudden is not available anymore. What I'm looking into right now.
We're checking on it.
All right, thanks. What I'm looking into right now here is this press release that came out about 8 days after the shooting that says a member of the team had an accidental discharge of their patrol rifle, an accidental discharge. And then a little birdie sent me some photos here where I count 1, 2, 3 bullet holes with an accidental discharge. Holy smokes, that is tough to do. Oh, and 2 broken out windows. Got broken out window, bullet hole, bullet hole, bullet hole with an accidental discharge. I would like to see somebody cause all that damage with an accidental discharge. All right, so I made a public data request looking for the personnel data. I went to Baxter for the arrest data because Baxter PD, are they all part-time employees? Right, all part-time employees. Anyways, I made a data request on the 16th of October for the personnel data regarding the patrol sergeant that was involved in that shooting. I got some of the data. There's a disciplinary notice. He was kicked off the TAC team for 30 days. He could still go on.
So, he's not here, but Craig is going to be out in a few minutes.
Craig Katzenberger? He's lieutenant, correct?
Yes.
Or captain? No, lieutenant. Lieutenant. All right, cool. I'll talk to Craig. Thanks.
Yeah, welcome.
All right. So we got Craig Katzenberger. I don't think I've ever talked to him on camera before. Anyhow, when I put in the data request back in October for the personnel data, I was actually pretty impressed with this response. I did get most of the personnel data. However, one of the items in 1343 subdivision 2 is the final disposition of any disciplinary action together with the specific reasons for the action and data documenting the basis of the action. All right, so I got the action, the employee disciplinary notice, but the basis for the action, you want to talk about transparency, check this out. There's the basis for that action. Does that look transparent to you? That thing is black. That thing's black.
Hello.
Are you Craig?
I am Craig.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Mr.?
Matt. Good. Thanks for coming out and talking to me.
What can I help you out with?
Well, I was just going through my viewers here. How Sheriff Klang ran on transparency. He said he was going to build trust with the community and ran on transparency. Okay. I requested incident data as well as personnel data from that crash last July up on 371, and I got zip and pip, right? And so I filed a civil complaint and summons, and little old lowly me with no attorney, pro se litigant, little maggot, these hotshot lawyers, paid me $2,000 and gave me a little bit of the data. They gave not all of it. They gave me a little bit of it.
Okay.
All right. And so fast forward to today, back in October, I made a public data request. For the personnel data regarding the shooting on July 30th, the morning of July 30th. And one of the items in the personnel data statute 1343 subdivision 2 says the final disposition of any disciplinary action together with the specific reasons for the action and data documenting the basis of the action. Well, I got the action's right here. So I got the employee disciplinary notice, and that's all good. But the basis for the action, look, that thing's black. We got no basis for the action. Now, I kind of let this go because of 1382 subdivision 7 that makes criminal investigative data not public. All right. And so I kind of let this go, even though I probably shouldn't have. Is there any way to get this unredacted?
So what specifically, Matt, just so I'm...
This supplemental report that is the basis for this disciplinary action. I mean, look, the thing's black. Doesn't have I don't know if this is supposed to have an ICR number on it or what's going on, but this is what
You want the report that is the basis...
that is the basis for the disciplinary action. I have the report, but the thing's black. You know what I mean? I mean, this thing doesn't say hardly anything in it, and I'm just wondering if that's able to be released.
I can do some checking and see.
Okay, that is what I was looking for. And also, I understand that you guys still might be able to redact this, or you might have to, according to 1382 subdivision 7 criminal investigative data. That, I believe, that does apply to personnel data under 1343.
And that was my initial thought. That is why
yes, and that's understandable. All right. And so what I did here is I have another data request dated today, and I'm requesting the incident data. Okay, now the incident data under 1382 subdivision 2, I'm sorry, 1382 subdivision 6 is not subject to 1382 subdivision 7. It says right in the first line of subdivision 7 that there's exceptions for withholding criminal investigative data, and those exceptions include arrest data, 911 calls, as well as incident data. So I would like the incident data from that for the July 30th shooting. Yes, I have not requested that incident data from you. And you know what's interesting is the Baxter Police Department, I requested the arrest data from them, and the Baxter Police Department sent me all of the incident reports with the incident numbers on them from Becker, Baxter, and Brainerd. But guess which one they didn't send? Crow Wing. You know what I mean? And so I'm looking for the incident data from Crow Wing County Sheriff's Office for that incident. I mean, they didn't even come off you guys didn't even come off the incident number. I had to track that down. I finally found it. It's, I believe it's ICR 23010521.
2301.
0521. I believe that's it. I mean, I didn't write that on my request, and of course the request asked for the response or incident number, but that's you know what I'm getting at, okay? And also with this, in addition to the incident data, I was reading up on criminal procedure, and it says per Minnesota statute 626.553 subdivision 2, that whenever a peace officer discharges a firearm in the course of duty other than for training purposes or the killing of an animal that is sick, injured, or dangerous, notifications shall be filed within 30 days of the incident by the officer's department head with the Commissioner of Public Safety. And I would like a copy of that notice that was filed from the department head. I'd imagine that'd be Clang. You know, with the Commissioner of Public Safety, there should be a report that was filed within 30 days of that shooting.
And obviously that's potentially could have been done electronically also. But.
Sure, but if I can get a copy of that, that'd be great. But yeah, so the incident data is what I'm requesting here. The problem we're having is this guy gets out in June of 27. This guy is dangerous, man. I mean, he is dangerous. Scott Peter Hendrickson is dangerous. And I think it's because of this screw up that he's getting out. So, I mean, I don't know, you know what I mean? I mean, Sherburne prosecuted him, and he got time served on a Danko violation, and only one of the other charges stuck. It was kidnapping to facilitate flight, and he only got 70 months for that. You know, he's going to be out in 46. He's already served 9. That leaves 37 left. That means he's out in June of 2027, and that ain't long enough. You know what I mean? I mean, we want this guy, and normally I don't go after regular people that are not public servants. Have you ever seen me run a story on a private individual? Never ever. So this guy's downright dangerous. You know what I mean? And yeah.
Can I have a copy of that?
Yes, I'm submitting this.
Okay,
Yes,
you're gonna submit that.
I'm submitting this.
Do you
Yes.
want me to make a copy?
Can I get a copy of it stamped received? Yes. And it's addressed directly to Sheriff Clang. That's another thing. If you don't request the data from the responsible authority themselves, they can just come back and say, well, the responsible authority didn't know about it, and you didn't request it from the responsible authority. And so by the way, do you have a copy of the
That's the original.
that's the original?
You want me
It
to have
don't
the original? Or you don't
it don't make a difference. I just need one, you want to initial that received there. What was I talking about here?
I don't know, you were gonna ask me another question, I thought.
Yes. Oh, yes. Is now 13025, Minnesota statute 13025 says that the data inventory and the government data and the subject data policies have to be available to the public, and they have to be updated no later than August 1st of each year. Do you have, do you know if, it might be a question for Clang, but I just want to make sure that this public data policy is available to the public, whether it's online and it's updated, and it states the responsible authority's name and address like it's supposed to. I just want to make sure that that's available to the public, because getting transparency from the sheriff and the sheriff's office should not be that difficult. You know what I mean? We shouldn't have to know every letter of the law. We should just be able to come in here and say, hey, like the car accident deal. I should just be able to come in here and ask for the incident and the personnel data, and they should be able to give it to me either on the spot or at least within a reasonable amount of time. And I mean, 30 days goes by and I got nothing, and that forces me. Fortunately, I know what I'm doing, and I asked for the data directly, just like this one. This is addressed to Crow Wing County Sheriff Eric Clang. I mean, I asked for it from directly, because doing it any other way is, the responsible authority is not going to be held accountable for
I
getting
just
the
want to
data.
make sure I'm on the same page as you.
Yep.
You want what you're requesting here.
Yep.
And in addition to that, you were asking about the public data policy.
Yes, I just kind of want to make sure. Yeah, I don't plan on suing you guys again. I just want it to be available to the public.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But this data I want.
Yeah.
This data I want for sure. But that data policy, I would like the public, that to be accessible either on the internet or copies, copy posted here, or at least we can come to the counter and say, hey, Steph, can I get a copy of the public data policy? And she can just hand us one. You know what I mean? That's available to the public like it's supposed to be, and I just want to make sure that it's updated, by August 1st of each year. So it should have been updated before August 1st of last year. If not, this is your opportunity. I'm not going to do anything about it. You know what I mean? I just want it available to the public. So yeah, we have some victims that are they won't come here.
Matt, what's the best way for us to be in contact with you?
Right there.
Right there. At that
Yep,
email?
northcentralmnpress@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanna make sure.
Yep. So that one I'm gonna hold you to. You know what I mean? These two requests, I'm gonna hold you to those, especially this incident data. I don't know if that's even covered under Chapter 13 or not, but it says that there was supposed to be a report filed with the Commissioner of Public Safety, and if I'm entitled to it, would like a copy of that report, because I mean, this press release says an accidental discharge, you know, an accidental discharge. Then a little birdie sends me pictures of 1, 2, 3 bullet holes and 2 busted out windows. Pretty tough to do with an accidental discharge. And this was 8 days later that this press release came out. And so I don't think they wanted the public to know what was going on here. I started doing some digging, asking some questions, and then they came out and said, well, it wasn't an accidental discharge. It was actually 2 accidental discharges. And the lady did not, and I'm sure you know what lady I'm talking about, did not get Hieronymus' body cam. She got all the other body cam except Hieronymus, and I have a feeling that Hieronymus' body cam maybe shows some evidence of a third bullet, you know, is what we're worried about. And also what the lady did not get is Ian Wilson's supplemental report. The supplemental report for Ian Wilson was also missing. And that would explain, you know, all these items in this incident data. Those supplemental reports are going to reveal this data, you know what I mean? And as long as all that data is documented, you know, in some kind of documentation, such as a supplemental report, you guys are good, you know what I mean? And so that's all we want is just, if you're allowed or even required by law to redact this, fine, I understand, you know what I mean? I get it. If it's criminal investigative data in here and, you know, the appeal ain't over. Henriksen's Scott Peter Henriksen, date of birth. I don't know what his date of birth is, but Scott Peter Henriksen, his appeal time is not over. You know what I mean? And so I get it. That's why I didn't sue for this, because, you know, but the incident data is not subject to 1382 subdivision 7 criminal investigative data. So that's what I'm after now. Okay. All right, does that make sense? And I hope you guys don't think I'm just, I mean, this is of public concern. You know what I mean? This is of public concern because now we have people that maybe they'll visit while he's in prison, but aren't going to be coming here because they're scared shitless of him. You know what I mean? And so if you guys would have came out and said, hey, we fired 3 times to gain and maintain compliance, still excessive force and still child endangerment, but at least we can roll with that. That's the truth, you know what I mean? But if we come out and say, well, there was 1, I mean 2, I mean 3 accidental discharges, you know, all in a grouped pattern, torso high, a foot away from the suspect, we're not gonna frickin' believe that. That's just an outright frickin' lie. You know what I mean? I mean, the video clearly shows that this thing was not an accident. And so how he could have got away with 30 days off the TAC team and you guys let him keep his gun and everything else, I have no idea. But I think if we, I just want Clang to step up to his campaign promises of transparency and accountability, because there are several examples. You got the blown up SUV, where people like Heidman and myself get nailed for forgetting to use our blinker or allegedly running a red light with no harm caused or anything. We get nailed with a citation for that. And this guy that blew up a sheriff's SUV, caused extensive property damage, multiple injuries, gets a written warning with no citation or anything. You know what I mean? And then the shooting, I mean, heck, if any of us were to go into a garage, even if we were trying to save a kid, and did that, we'd be sitting in prison right now. You know what I mean? And I kind of know what you're going to say. Well, talk to the prosecutor, because we handed it over to the prosecutor, right?
That is something.
Right. So you want to come over with your body cam and I'll come over live over to the prosecutor's office and we can go talk to the prosecutor?
Well.
Oh, they won't let cameras in there, will they? They won't let cameras in there, so we can't talk to the prosecutor on camera. You know what I'm saying?
Try to set up a meeting outside.
Sure. Maybe I'll try to do that. That's a pretty good idea. Maybe the prosecutor will meet me outside the building. You know what I mean? But we just don't like it looks very discriminatory where you guys cover for your own guys and make sure they don't get in trouble. But then if a regular non-public employee does any little thing like forgets to use their blinker, bang, fine, insurance premium increase.
I know what you're saying, Matt. not looking to get into any type of debate.
Sure.
Okay.
But hey, man, you did your job. If you can get that over to Sheriff Clang, I'd love to see the incident data from that and that report that went to the Commissioner of Public Safety if we could. You know, so we are looking.
Thank you.
I will stop doing this as soon as we get transparency. You know what I mean? As soon as we get transparency and accountability, I'm out of a job. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Matt.
Thanks,
Have a
Mr.
good day.
Katzenberger. Appreciate it. Thanks. All right, guys. That'll do it. Hey, thanks, Steph. Yep. All right, guys. That's it. That's all we came for is, you know, I just wanted to update you on the settlement, the civil matter settlement, where, you know, these hotshot lawyers for the insurance and trust company, you know, I'm going up against a handful of hotshot lawyers. They're not going to pay a little schmuck like me unless the sheriff actually did violate the statute. And of course the sheriff violated the statute. That's why they paid me $2,000 and gave me and gave me a little bit of the data, you know. I feel that was productive. Thanks, Ralphie. Appreciate it, man. I don't want this to get too long. I try to keep it to a half an hour or less, little TV programming for you guys on Thursday afternoon. It is Thursday, the May 16th. Time is about, I don't know, what, 3:40, right around there. I can't see my clock on this live. And so I'm going to wrap it up, guys. If you want to hit the like button on your way out, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Love to hear the comments. Thanks, Ralphie Boy, for joining us. Thanks, Ralphie Boy. Appreciate it. I didn't see anybody else in the chat. That doesn't mean there's nobody else there. Might have been tied up with the... oh, yes, Anonymous. I think I seen Anonymous in there. Thanks, Anon, for coming. Ralphie Boy, thanks. Until next time, law-abiding Minnesotan with North Central MN Press, out.